Chris Hogg here with Digital Journal. We are at Innovation Week at Calgary, and I am joined by Naheed Nenshi, the leader of the Alberta NDP. Thank you for joining us.
I am so excited to be here. This is some party.
It's pretty energetic, isn't it?
It really is.
I want to talk about your role in the different roles you've had as you move municipally to provincially. What do you see as your next step, or as you foster innovation and you change from a municipal viewpoint to a provincial one? How does that change or amplify what you view as what's next?
Well, I was mayor of Calgary for 11 years, and one of the important things we wanted to do was help strengthen the innovation ecosystem here in Calgary. So as we're filming this, I just walked in, I drove down from Edmonton, and I was blown away by the people at the launch party here. By the way, the launch party is the end of Innovation Week. I don't know why it's called launch party. It sounds like it should be at the beginning of the
It always has been, for whatever reason.
But it has been, I understand, an incredible week. And I'm really excited, not just about the 10 most promising tech startups here, but about what this says about the ecosystem. If folks could only see the energy in the room. And I'm really excited about that because a lot of people have worked incredibly hard on trying to put all the puzzle pieces together that have been needed to create that ecosystem. From nucleus companies to the ability of financing at different levels, to the ability to build capacity like they do at Platform Calgary, to make sure people can launch and grow their businesses. So for me, it's kind of a proud moment, all that work we did for so many years to see it coming to fruition now. I really believe that innovation ecosystems work on inflection points. That you grow, and then you take off. And I really feel like Calgary is a take-off moment. Right, so to me, that's very exciting right now. And so your question is, what can we do provincially? You know, the municipal government did a lot, but we couldn't do everything we wanted to do without willing partners in the province and in the federal government. The challenge I think we have right now in politics everywhere, but particularly in Alberta, is that we have a politics that makes us think things will never be better than they are today. That forces us to be defensive, to fight for every crumb. And I think that's really a problem because what we need is innovation. The world is changing so quickly. Our traditional industries are shifting and changing and going through transition. New industries coming up behind them need to think about work and growth in brand new ways. You know, this morning I was giving a speech to a big business group in Edmonton. And I was talking about automation and AI and digitization and the changing nature of work. So for us to really be ready to ensure that we can offer people great jobs in a great, growing, thriving economy, that we can build on our own prosperity, means we have to embrace innovation. And those can't just be words. It means we need a provincial government that isn't being defensive and thinking backwards and trying only to hold on to legacy industries, but one that opens ourselves up and understands how innovation both creates new economies but also helps legacy businesses through the transition.
If we're looking at unlocking that inflection point, when you were mayor, one of the things you talked about was cutting red tape. Provincially, what tape needs to be cut to really see things move?
I think we really need to take a slightly more hands-on role in nurturing the innovation economy, as opposed to simply a role that says, we'll get out of the way. Because getting out of the way doesn't lead to those inflection points that we need. So I'll give you a simple example. We fought for a really long time to build the film, TV, and media industry here in Calgary. And one of the things that was preventing us from growing was the way in which the provincial government managed tax credits for that industry. And I remember when HBO came to Calgary and they talked about filming The Last of Us here, the largest film production ever done in Canada. And they just needed this one thing to change. And we've been working on this one thing for years and years. And to their credit, the Conservative government went, well, let's just change that. And in one fell swoop, with the stroke of a pen, it cost the taxpayer essentially nothing. We managed to create massive growth in the film, TV, and media industry here. So now we have to figure out what are those friction points that are preventing the innovation economy from growing the way it needs to, and just remove them.
What if when we move out of city hubs into rural areas. What are you paying attention to, and how do we think about innovation outside of major city centers?
You know, one of the biggest things that people who live outside of the big city centers talk to me about, and this has surprised me since I've been in provincial politics, is simply the availability of broadband. Those of us who live in cities think that problem is solved 20
Basic
years ago,
connectivity.
right? Basic connectivity. And we can talk all day about the importance of basic connectivity to participate in the economy, to be able to work remotely, all of that stuff. But it's also about watching Netflix. That sounds funny, but it's also about ensuring that people in every size of community feel like they're part of the conversation, feel like they're plugged into the kind of societal and economic growth that we're seeing. So basic connectivity matters. You know, yes, we need data centers, absolutely. We are well equipped for data centers. We've got the fiber, we've got the energy infrastructure, we've got the climate that makes sense. But the data centers have to be a piece of something. They have to be the nucleus of something. It builds better businesses. Because as you know, data centers don't employ a lot of people. You can put a giant data center in rural Alberta, it'll employ fewer than 100 people. Lots of people to build it, few people to run it. And so what we need to do is think about all of our plays as taking advantage of the assets that we've got, but also in a way that they lead to growth of the ecosystem as a whole.
When we elevate this beyond just the province and we look at innovation in the country, we're a lot of geography, politics at federal and provincial levels. There's the ups and downs, and priorities change. What does Alberta need to do to play well and do well, and to unlock that inflection point as Canada? Like, what is the province? Where does it fit?
I think the province and the nation has similar concerns. One of them is the typical bugbear of every innovator, which is financing. 25 years ago, I did a project on venture capital and mezzanine financing in Canada, and we still, when I talk to innovators, they tell me the exact same things are the problem. So we got to fix it. And other places have shown us how we can fix it. Part two, I think, is a perceptual change. So, when we talk about the areas that Alberta's economy needs to grow, we rarely say tech and AI as though that's a thing. But we talk as tech and AI not as industries, but as enablers. So put tech after everything else: agri-tech, fintech, legal services tech, all of that, which are fundamentally changing the nature of work. Why are we not at the front of that? And of course, the most important ones there are life sciences and energy. And how do we use these as enablers? So there has to be an attitude change. The third and the most important piece, I think, is figuring out how we maximize the potential of talents. We're very good at attracting people from around the world to come here, but we need to continue doing that. We need to continue to get people to live here, not just because you can afford to live here, not just because it's way cheaper than Silicon Valley, but because you can thrive here. And we have to ensure that we're removing barriers that keep people from other countries, for example, to be able to thrive here. So when we put those things together, money, talents, and attitude, I think that's really where we see change.
And there's excitement in the room as we can hear cheers as some of the award winners are being announced. I want to end with unlocking that change, and any final thoughts you have on how you define success for innovation policy. What does it look like? If policy plays a role in enabling all of that, how do you look at defining what that means or how it plays out?
You've asked a very dangerous question to an old business professor, because I could give you an entire lecture on this. But quite simply, we have to define what outcomes we're looking for. And those outcomes can be really broad. Increase of productivity in Canada, creating a larger GDP per capita, ensuring that all of our economic work is based on decent, good jobs that are lasting. But those things are hard to measure. So what we have to do is create the logic model, the system. It shows us how we can measure outputs and show how they're going to lead to picks. So, if I turned to Terry Rock, the CEO of Platform Calgary while I was still the mayor, and I said, Terry, how did you measure the success of Innovation Week? I know he would say to me, we had more people come to the launch party than we've ever had before. And I'd push him hard and I'd say, Terry, that's great. So what? People had great snacks. What does that do to build our economic innovation system? So we have to track and measure all of those steps in between. It lead us to the broad societal outcomes that we need.
Mr. Nenshi, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. What a pleasure to be here. Thank you to Digital Journal for your coverage of this. You told me you're in Calgary like a week a month now, and this is where you need to be because this is where it's happening. So to all of your viewers, to all of your listeners, keep your eyes on Alberta because this is where the prize is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For more coverage from Innovation Week, check out digitaljournal.com.